Good morning, everyone. We will call this meeting to order. I'm sorry we're running a little late, time being 9:06 a.m. We're having just a few problems with our live stream. We've got IS working on it, and we'll see if we can't get it working. But right now, Jane is just recording this meeting, and I'm sure it'll go up on our website also in the near future. So, good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 20, 2022, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order again at, now it's 9:07 a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting normally is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcast. However, unfortunately, I'm not sure that today it is working. So, public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email public comments at co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. At this point, I don't believe we have anyone signed up for public comment.
We did not.
That is a no. Thank you. So again, I want to welcome everyone, and if you're in the room, please make sure you have signed our guest list. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Starr, could you lead us, please?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So again, we have no public comment, non-agenda items. We have one unscheduled agenda item, which we will take up directly after our presentation. And our presentation this morning is Tillamook County Solid Waste Department 2021 Review and Progress Report. And with us this morning, we've got David McCall, Solid Waste Program Manager. Good morning, David.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners, and others that are tuning in either live or at a future point. So this is our opportunity to, as we're required, to come before the board each year and present you with an update, which is going on. And so I'm going to hopefully share my screen and tell me, is that working for you?
No.
Need to give it a second here, maybe.
Sometimes it takes a second to load.
There we go. You're good.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is for the year 2021. We're always a little bit behind as we time-wise, but it is April, and so we're looking at the year 2021. And as a reminder, a little background: the solid waste hierarchy. The best way to deal with our solid waste is to not produce it. So if we always want to reduce the amount of waste that we are producing, because then we don't actually have to deal with it afterwards. What we do produce, we should reuse to the greatest extent possible. Reusing those materials, buckets being used again is more buckets again, or for other products. What we cannot reuse, we should recycle if at all possible. Use those materials into making new products. What we can't recycle, let's put into recovery things and capture the energy value of that waste. We don't have a waste to energy facility in our area that we use, but we do have composting, and that is a recovery because it actually it captures the nutrient value of that material. And then for those things that we cannot just deal with in any other way, make sure we landfill in a safe disposal method. It's our least favorite option, but it is still the secure option. When we look at our review, our basis for comparison is the year 2012, when the commissioners adopted the comprehensive materials and solid waste management plan in December of 2012. Each year, we are required to review the progress which we've made and also check on the developments outside the plan that have happened since then. We went through a rather extensive vision process between 2018 and 2020 and did some Q-sort meetings during 2020, which resulted in an update of our plan in 2020. So the last time I was here, it was reviewing the year 2020. And, you know, we thought that year was really bad. And now I'm here in 2021, and, you know, very much it was out of the frying pan and into the fire. From many perspectives, it was much more difficult and much worse. First and foremost, and this will be no news to you because you're hearing it quite a bit, but we have had severe staffing challenges. So we have not had an outreach specialist since July of 2019. We have not had a code enforcement officer since March of 2020. Both of those activities have been covered to the best extent possible by myself. We were consistently short at least one full-time employee, sometimes two, at the Manzanita transfer station. Now, this is a site which is budgeted to operate with 3 full-time employees, so if we're short 2, that's clear. That means there's a lot of other people, including management, that are stepping up to make sure it still operates. We promoted a position to a supervisor to help out, but that position has not yet been backfilled. Therefore, you know, it's not being utilized to the extent it should be. And last year, we also did have a change in the administrative support services that we received from the Public Works Department. We also experienced some very unique challenges in 2021. What you see here, the picture on your left, is a load of ammunition, which was in a drop box that was delivered to the transfer station and not discovered until it had been dumped on the floor. And, you know, the employees there were very quick to shut everything down and separate it out and pick up all of those shells. Probably 2/3 of the shells that you see in that picture were still loaded and live. And so they were picked up and disposed of properly, I believe through the sheriff's department. Your upper right-hand photo shows what we saw one day when we arrived at the Manzanita transfer station, the grocery cart outside the gate, which was the first indicator we had that we had another break-in. Over the course of the year, I believe we had a total of 10 break-ins at our transfer station, disrupting a lot of the normal life. We also had a couple days when we had to close due to weather. So in the 10 years I've been here, I think there was only one other time when we actually had to close due to weather. This year we actually had 2 or maybe 3 days we had to. You know, the weather was not our friend this year. We have a master recycler program which helps us a lot, but due to COVID, that program was essentially on hold, and that's for the last 2 years. It's a very active group of about 24 people who support our efforts and a lot. And we started bringing them back at the end of 2021, but they were essentially not available. We didn't bring them back because we were trying to reduce contact among members of the community. We have a very successful household hazardous waste program in this county. Our facility just turned 10 years old this last year, and during that 10 years, we saw the program consistently grow and stay strong. We have collected more than 1 million pounds of hazardous waste from now it's over 10,000 residents that have come through that facility. This is probably one of the more intensive, successful programs in the state of Oregon. And we're very proud of it. And you know, you recall a few months ago, we had a video that was put together by Jane Scott asking residents why they feel it is so important, and that's available on our website. You know. As part of that, we also have a program to recycle our own latex paint here locally. And this last year, that also stepped over the 10,000 gallon mark since 2014 when we started doing that. And I just bring this up because this was not something that we had envisioned in 2012 when we passed our plan at that time. We've also spent a lot of time during the last year or two on planning for improvements in our transfer stations. So between 2019 and 2021, we saw the volumes of materials handled at our transfer stations go up by up to 28% during that time. That's not just due to COVID, but also due to increased activities and more people coming in. That's a clear indicator that we need to make changes in our transfer stations so that we can deal with the increases in volumes. What you see here, that's actually borings, drillings that were happening. The pictures were taken in Pacific City, but we've had the same work done in Manzanita. We have planning work going on to prepare for construction projects at all three transfer stations. The commissioners have approved the design and engineering contract, which has been working in Manzanita for the last several months, and in the upcoming couple of weeks, we will be presented with engineering contract for Pacific City as well. We're looking at significant changes and improvements to all three transfer stations so we can deal with the oncoming volumes. On that note as well, so it's not only trash that has increased. Between 2019 and 2020, we saw the quantity of recycling that's collected and recycled here in Tillamook County increased by over 3,000 tons in 1 year. And we have to commend the people for doing all they do to make that happen. So Pacific City Transfer Station is a site that we took over operations of it in 2014. It's a small site with a small staff, but it has been dealing with incredible growth in materials and activities going on there, and that continued to grow during the last year as well, as you'll see for this. And as you see on that, the green column, in 2021, both the first half and the second half of the year, we collected more recycling at that site than we have ever collected in the past during those time periods. The Manzanita Transfer Station is a site that we took over in January of 2019, the operations of it, and there also the quantities significantly increased during the past year and a half. There, especially in terms of waste that's being disposed of, but recycling as well. As you see there, we have had higher quantities of both trash and recycling than we have had in any time in the past. One of the things that are unique to Tillamook County is our styrofoam densifier. This is the machine that enables us to collect styrofoam at different locations throughout the county, both Pacific City, Tillamook, and Manzanita. And we actually bring this compacting machine to the styrofoam that we have collected there and densify it into these logs or bricks. What you see there is another almost 13,000 pounds of compacted styrofoam that we shipped off. This went to Malaysia this last year, where there it is turned into coat hangers, which are then sent back and sold in stores. We started a yard debris collection in 2013, and since then we have collected almost 10,000 tons of yard debris. It's a program that's consistently grown in its size and has been very popular in keeping that organic material out of the landfill, out of our waste stream, and enable it to be processed into compost that can be returned to our community, both in terms of landscaping and farming community, so that the nutrients are returned to the soil. One of the significant parts of that has been the ODF yard debris voucher program. Of the 1,700 tons of yard debris we collected in 2021, you can see that Pacific City accounted for 64 tons, Manzanita just over 300 tons, and Tillamook nearly 300 tons. Over 1,500 people participated in that in just Tillamook alone. So that's a Tillamook number. All in all, we had approximately 8,000 transactions through the yard debris program. And that is a program I'll note at this time. It is Title III funds, which come from the federal government to the county, and the county has a grant process by which they're awarded to different potential projects in the community. That grant process just opened yesterday. And therefore, so we're preparing, we do not have any assurance, and we're not sure that this program will be available this year. We're operating under the assumption that the funds will not yet be available and allocated. So that will be a little extra work for us, but hopefully in the near future that will be available again. During the midst of all this, we had various promotional activities that we did participate in. You know, every month we have a half page in the Headlight Herald and the North Coast Citizen that's put out there, and we try to concentrate our efforts on promoting certain different aspects of recycling or waste reduction in the community. Also had some new projects in 2021. You know, we got a new website, which I think looks a lot better, a lot clearer, but it also involved a little extra work that I hadn't been planning on having the opportunity to participate in. We also have put in new LED lights at both in the buildings at both Tillamook and the Manzanita transfer station. So it's a lot more efficient for us to light up the buildings, and also makes it a lot more easier to see in the buildings because those lights actually work. And so it didn't happen in 2021, but we started off 22 with 2 items, which I present here in the form of a picture, which normally it shouldn't be a big deal to talk about these. But the hybrid pickup we see there on the left finally arrived after 9 months of waiting. As you are well aware, you know, the chip issue happened to all vehicles, and so we thought we would get it in the previous fiscal year. It didn't actually arrive until just before Christmas, but it's now on the road and we're using it, when it's very welcome. Also, you see here the other picture, that is our plastic shredder. So we're starting a new project, and it's in its trial phase. That finally arrived. We finally got it hooked up with the electricity, and we're going through a trial process by which we hope to be able to very soon start accepting plastic caps and recycling them into materials. Like I said, we're in the trial phase yet, so it's not yet open and available to the public, but hopefully during the summer months we'll be coming with more information on that and how it can work. And with that, that is my presentation. And now let me get this out of here and figure out how to stop sharing. Okay, and I believe that we're returning back to you.
Yes. Comments, questions?
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for your terrific presentation. As the liaison to solid waste, I've gotten to learn a lot about solid waste and the processes in the last 3.5 years. I'm glad that you mentioned the plastic shredder, that we have a trial for the plastic shredder, because someone asked me recently, in fact it was Michelle Bradley from the Port of Tillamook Bay, she said, what about plastic caps? I have been collecting my plastic caps. I got bags of them. And in fact, I've been collecting plastic caps. So I think there are a whole bunch of people in the community waiting to be able to recycle our plastic caps. So that was great news. I'm glad we finally got the hybrid truck. That's excellent news also. A couple months ago, Dave invited me to household hazardous solid waste collection event. And I was really glad to go because I hadn't been to one of those to observe what goes on, and it's really very impressive. There are a lot of volunteers there, and they're sorting and organizing things. They're collecting paint. There were people there collecting hazardous things like batteries and chemicals, fertilizer, stuff like that, sorting them, organizing them. It was really very impressive and well run, and it was the occasion of the 10,000th customer to come through Tillamook County Household Hazardous Solid Waste. So it was great to celebrate that, and we completely surprised the 10,000th car with balloons and a gift certificate, and it was terrific. But it's great work. You mentioned the master recyclers are really passionate about their work. In fact, they regularly talk to me about when are we ever going to get that program up and going again. because as you said, it was paused because of COVID, and then also we have yet to replace the position that you mentioned early in your report, which I certainly hope we will be able to do. But this is another example of everywhere we go in all of our departments and everywhere in the community, organizations are short-staffed and unable to recruit the people they need to do important work. So I don't yet know the solution to that. I hope we find one. I hope we find a solution to that. So, in conclusion, thanks, Dave, for your excellent work. You know, we have a really very impressive program, and I know a little bit about programs in other counties, and I think ours is exemplary. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say thank you, David, for all of your work. I think Commissioner Bell really covered it very well, as did you, so I won't spend a long time pontificating, but it is an excellent program that we have for our small rural community, and I appreciate your work to continue to sort of push the envelope and look for what more can we do. You know, the styrofoam compactor, the shredding machine, just really always looking for how to do more, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioners. And David, I agree with most of the other commissioners. You're doing a terrific job. Tillamook County leads Oregon counties in so many different ways. And this is another one of those ways. That Tillamook County really stands out in Oregon. So I think that's great. I do have one question. So your staffing challenges, are you just, like many departments in the county, are you just not getting applicants for these positions?
That is a good part of it. So we have a couple, one position specifically, the code enforcement, it's a specialty position, so basically we would share that position with another department, and the sheriff's department has been understaffed or struggling to get their mandatory services, so clearly they don't have an extra deputy that they can, let us pay for and utilize. And we can't just, pick somebody up off the street for that job. But in generally, when you look at the list of job openings, ours is the last one on the list every week, and we can go for weeks without getting a single application, or maybe one. And we're supposed to have 8.5. We're operating with 5.
I feel your pain, David. We've got that problem all across the county. We really do. Let's hope the job market does improve moving forward. Now we're in a pinch. We are. But again, David, thank you so much for the great work at Solid Waste.
Let me just bring up one final thing I forgot to mention, but it's current. The Master Recyclers will be returning so the Solid Waste Department is co-sponsor of this year's Home and Garden Show. That will be happening April 30th and May 1st. And so the Master Recyclers will be back at that, engaging with the community, and I encourage everybody to come by, drop by, learn a little more about our recycling and waste management program, talk to the Master Recyclers, find out what they're doing, and you might even walk away with a prize.
I like prizes.
One quick question.
Sure,
for David.
absolutely, please.
So David, I know that Solid Waste Department is another one of our special revenue funds. It is not something that's paid for out of general fund. It's something that supports itself. And the budget hearing is coming up for Solid Waste because it's a separate thing altogether. Can you just let the public know when that hearing would be, and if they wanted to attend and understand the finances, how they would do that?
Yeah, so the budget hearing will be Monday, May 2nd. At 11 o'clock. This will be a virtual meeting only, so we don't have an in-person option because commissioners have some different things that they're juggling between. So if you look, I believe it's posted on the commissioner's calendar already, the website, including not only the time and how you can dial in, but also the materials should be there. So. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or the county treasurer, who's just joined us.
Hi, Sean.
Good morning, commissioners. Yes, it is posted, I believe, on the BOC's website. It is also out on the treasurer's website under the solid waste tab on our site. And it has the agenda, the documents and that meeting notice.
Perfect, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay,
Thank
anything
you.
else? David, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have one unscheduled personnel requisition, and this is being done unscheduled. It is for Judy Klinghoffer this is I believe a retire rehire, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Retire rehire, and it's been signed off by everyone, Jerry Godber and Mary Faith Bell and Sean Blanchard and Aaron Frost. So unfortunately, it didn't make our agenda earlier, but I felt it was important that we get this on the agenda. So, any comments, concerns?
Jerry's here to speak
Oh,
to it.
Jerry, hey, yes, good morning. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, Judy would come back as a retiree hire to assist with administrative tasks. We're trying to fill her position. And so we're just running into one person having being trained how to do things. So that kind of creates problems when that person needs time off or something. So anyway, so yes, thank you for getting us on the agenda today, and hopefully it all works out.
Thank you for being here, Jerry. Comments, questions?
No, I fully support this. The library, like most of our other departments, is drastically short-staffed, and I'm grateful that Judy's willing to come back and work part-time.
Agreed.
Okay, we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personnel requisition for a retire rehire employee in the library as a library assistant 3.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you for being with us, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, I'm going to also move one item. We have item number 17, which is discussion and consideration of a letter of support for the Tillamook County Visitors Association Business Oregon Innovation Hub Grant application. And we have Nan Devlin with us in the room, and she would like to address this. And rather than make her sit through the next 13 items, we were going to bring her up, and we'll take this up now.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for being here.
So I'm Nan Devlin, Tillamook Coast Visitors Association Executive Director. And this is a project that we've been working on for 3 years, since actually we started forming the North Coast Food Trail. And while we were in our workshops developing the food trail, what I found interesting most of all with conversations between the workshop activities and what we were hearing was, we need help getting our foods out and delivered. We need help with getting a commercial kitchen so we can maybe explore some value-added products. We don't have any seafood processing plants here at all for our small fisheries. We don't have any food processing, like even dehydration equipment. And everybody who does need those services has to go to the Willamette Valley. And it cuts not only into their time, but into their profit margins. And we're looking to develop through Business Oregon and their offer to recognize each of the regions in Oregon with an innovation hub. And the innovation hub would provide about 10 years of funding that we would be able to put together seafood processing and cold storage and freezer and ice machines and delivery trucks in both Port of Garibaldi for seafood and at the Port of Tillamook Bay for farms. And there isn't a single shared license commercial kitchen in this county. There are commercial kitchens, but they can't be shared, they're not licensed, and they're privately owned and can't be shared. So this will be a big deal, and it's also for workforce training, it's specialty training, it'll provide a lot of jobs, it'll help our farms and our fisheries grow and increase their market share. And it's not just Tillamook County that will be involved in this, it's also Clatsop County, because we're working very closely with the Astoria Food Hub, with Colpack, with Food Web, up there and several of the food farms and food businesses there as well. So this will help connect all of us, and we'll probably even end up working with Lincoln County as well. So this is something, you know, it could very well be a long shot, but we have been working with Business Oregon, Melanie Wilson, Jennifer Purcell, the creamery, the breweries, and everyone is on board, and we are now putting together a business plan, a facilities plan, a cost estimate, and looking for funding for all of those things. So getting this recognition will be a big, big step toward achieving that vision.
This is exciting.
It
It
is.
is.
Yep.
Comments, questions for Nan?
I would just say this is super exciting, man, and I'm gonna harken back almost 20 years to when I started at CARE with Shelley Bowe. And Shelley Bowe at that time was we had a food security grant from the federal government. And one of the things that Shelley did with that was community garden work. But what she really wanted to do with that was a commercial kitchen to help local farmers who wanted to bring their product with some value add and bring it to market.
Yeah.
So, I mean, feels to me like this is 20 years in the making, and I'm sure it's probably more than that for those who've been in the county longer than that, but I would just, Shelley Bowe unfortunately is no longer with us to see
Yeah.
this come to fruition, but it was one of her big dreams, and so from my perspective, I so appreciate all the work that so many have done to get to this place, but for me, it just
Oh, great.
calls to my heart to just thank you on behalf of Shelley, who can't be with us.
Thank you. Well, and one of the studies that we did was Food Roots helped us with, and we discovered that nearly all of our farmers and fishers were delivering to the same places on the same days individually. And we immediately saw a need for efficiencies and a food hub and delivery system. And the delivery system has, thanks to Food Roots, and grants that they receive from the county and others, they have a delivery van now. It's called North Coast Grown, and they are doing up and down the coast. And now we want to expand around so they can do regional delivery.
Very exciting.
Well,
Oh, I think this is great, and I'm fully supportive of the letter, of the request, and I'm really excited about the project also. I think the opportunities that it provides to local producers, makers, growers, etc., is extraordinary, and it seems like in a rural community we're very successful when we collaborate and do things together. We're very successful. It makes more sense for us. It's far more efficient for us to work together than to work in silos. So I think this is a great opportunity. It's exciting.
Well, thank you. It is. It's and working collaboratively, you find out. Like when I held the first Innovation Hub meeting last June, I found out that everybody who attended had thought of this idea, actually had some plans for it, but they were looking for kind of a community effort to get going, so I'm glad to be a part of that. And people ask me, what does this have to do with tourism? Well, it has a lot to do with tourism, because what we offer here in the way of food is exceptional, and we've already made a name for ourselves with the North Coast Food Trail, and I think that's shown a big spotlight on what we have to offer here in the North Coast.
I agree. This is really exciting. So it just so happens that yesterday, Tillamook Working Lands and Waters Cooperative, we did a tour yesterday for the House Energy and Natural Resource Committee, and it was a huge hit yesterday. When we explained to legislators things we do in Tillamook County, how we do them differently, the big thing that I love to say, and this is just resonating with people now, is that when it comes to clean water, habitat restoration, and fish recovery, no Oregon county does this better than Tillamook County. But when you have all the natural resource food producers, the dairymen, the fisheries, in Pacific City, the Dory fleet does a terrific job of marketing their products.
Yeah.
Nestucca Creamery in Cloverdale, Larry and Pam Zweifel had just a terrific, this was brand new to them. They had never been in chickens before, but they decided to start an egg operation, and it was just so successful. They've recently sold the business to a family in Cloverdale, which has taken it over, and they are doing just terrific business. These are the types of things in Tillamook County that, again, go unsung. And I'm hoping this opportunity is going to really shine a spotlight on many of the small businesses that we have in Tillamook County. It's not just timber and dairy and fisheries. It is so much more in between.
Yes, absolutely. And they've been resilient these last 2 years, amazingly
It had to
resilient.
be.
And that's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get there, but they're here. And, I'm really proud because not a single company, not a single business on the North Coast Food Trail went out of business.
That says something.
Yeah.
It does.
And in fact, many expanded.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you're doing here, man. Appreciate it. Okay, ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a letter of support for the Tillamook County Visitors Association Business Oregon Innovation Hub Grant application.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
This
Dan.
will have a lot of pull with Business Oregon. This will be a big deal.
Thank you
you
for
so
being
much.
here, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, so I think we've got all of our unscheduled out of the way, or just changes in numbering on our agenda. Let's move on to item number 6, discussion and consideration of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time road maintenance equipment operator 2 journey level in the Public Works Department. We have Chris Lady, Director of Public Works. Chris.
So the image that you're seeing right now is one of our trucks. These are what we use to haul asphalt around, gravel around, not necessarily this specific truck, but when we look at sanding operations and snow removal with the larger trucks, it's similar to this. In addition to that, you can see a backhoe in the background, and then just on the screen is the styrofoam densifier that solid waste has. The Tillamook County Public Works, it consists of the road department as well as solid waste. Solid waste, we support them. Dave McCall did, as you heard earlier, does a fabulous job. I serve as the administrator, and the road department helps out where we can.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The first request is for the road maintenance equipment operator 2 journey level. This position requires a commercial driver's license. That is needed in order to drive the truck behind us. If we didn't have these drivers, we would not be able to operate these trucks. And the paving program throughout the summer would not exist. Essentially, all we would have left are flaggers. So over this last year, we have had as many as 3 people, or as few as 3 people, maintaining all the roads from Highway 6 all the way up to Clatsop County. Tillamook County Public Works, there's a total of 364 miles worth of road in the county. When you have 3 people maintaining from Highway 6 north, it's pretty difficult. Also, in this past year, we've had as few as 4 people managing Highway 6 all the way down to Lincoln County. So what we have been doing is we recently hired on 2 people. They are MU1s. They do not require a commercial driver's license. We are going through the process to become federally certified trainers, and also working with Community College and J.J. Keller, who's more of a nationwide type of trainer program. February 7th of this year, the federal government imposed some additional requirements on training. As everyone has seen in the national news, there is a shortage of commercial driver's license. These are the truck drivers, and Tillamook County is no different. So currently, I'm aware of at least 10 active recruitments, informal headhunting that's going on throughout the county. So when we have applicants that do apply, we want to make every opportunity to hire on as many qualified people as we can. Included in next year's budget is the addition of another MEO2. Again, should we actually find somebody, that's in the budget as I presented the other week. And this specific one, because it is not in this year's budget, comes to the board for approval. So I request the ability to recruit for another maintenance equipment operator to journey level position.
Perfect. Comments, questions?
As the liaison to the Public Works Department, I certainly support this. I think we're, as I've said earlier in this meeting, probably everybody in the county is suffering from the inability to hire, to recruit, and retain employees, and Public Works is no exception to that, and the situation feels like it is escalating, feels like it's becoming dire. What Chris said, you know, if we lose a few more CDL drivers, what we're going to have is a lot of flaggers, and in my experience, it's unprecedented. So there's certainly money in the budget because we're so short-staffed. So I support this request.
And I would agree, you know, it's one of those things we've similarly done with the sheriff's office where we've said if we get a pool of qualified candidates, we can't afford to not hire when they are available because we don't have a position open. So I think adding the second position to hopefully allow us to hire as many qualified folks as we can get on board to get the work done is worth it. And as you stated, the money is in the budget due to our short staffing.
And I would agree with both other commissioners. We've got a short window of time where we can do some paving coming up, and I know you're gonna be busy, Chris, I know you are. So we need to do whatever we can to help alleviate the staff shortages in all departments of the county. So I'm in agreement here. So I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time road maintenance equipment operator 2, journey level in the Public Works Department.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Chris. You've got the next three also. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and consideration of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time mechanic in the Public Works Department. Here you go, Chris.
So also behind me is the shop. That's where our mechanics take care of the trucks.
Oh, and I just noticed that.
And also support the densifier, solid waste.
I just noticed that the hood is up on that truck, so I take it that's kind of what you're looking at, right?
Exactly right. So the some of the normal servicing, and we also work on the solid waste. So Manzanita runs an excavator up there that our mechanics support, and we also run a backhoe at the Pacific City transfer station, so our mechanics support that as well. The addition of another mechanic is needed for a variety of reasons. One is as the solid waste department continues to grow. When we took over operations in Manzanita, that put some additional need on our end to support them. Short term, or more or less short term and long term, is oftentimes in the paving season, we augment our paving crew, our PO crew, with at least one mechanic, sometimes 2 mechanics. Our mechanics also have commercial driver's license. In order to operate our vehicles, when they go out there and they do the mechanic work on it, they want to make sure that they function correctly, they need to have a license as well. So this position is out there to, again, target opportunity. It is not in this current year's budget. It has been a request for next year's budget. But if we don't start recruiting, then we obviously won't get any applicants.
Thank you, Chris. Comments?
I support this for the same reasons as the previous request.
Yeah, agreed.
So, Chris, you know, you wouldn't need a mechanic if you just bought brand new equipment all the time.
Actually, that's we're working on that. I think hopefully we won't need to submit another a contract extension for our excavator that's been on order, as well as our a couple of our trucks that have been on back order for quite a while now. So we're trying to buy new.
There you go. I'm in complete support here. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time mechanic in the Public Works Department.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and consideration of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time solid waste transfer station attendant in the solid waste department. Again, Chris.
So in addition to running the densifier, which is just barely on our screen, the solid waste department operates, again, the Manzanita transfer station as well as Pacific City transfer station. As you heard from Mr. McCall earlier today, the staffing is short like everywhere else in the county. Typically, we relied on temporary staffing through BBSI to support us during summer operations up in Manzanita. We anticipate that we will not receive those people as we have not over the last number of years. So with that is this additional person, should we find that person, would help us out definitely during the summer where we absolutely need another person up there to assist. This person will also be able to help us out through the winter. Frequently, we are supplementing the solid waste staff with road staff. Road department works Monday through Thursday during the summer months. Solid waste works during the weekends. So we will use road department staff to help out and fill vacancies in the solid waste department as needed. So adding this additional person will be somebody that would minimize the road department staff needing to help out solid waste. We did make an offer for a solid waste transfer station attendant previously. That person was not able to afford to move to Tillamook County. So again, identifying and hiring somebody is just more and more challenging. This position is in next year's budget, and there is money higher on it. It's that same statement. If we don't actively recruit, we won't hire.
You just make too much sense, Chris. You do. Comments, questions?
I agree that this is needed very often. Commissioner Yamamoto, you were asking Dave McCall about being short-staffed. Very often, Dave McCall works at the Manzanita transfer station on Sundays. I see him there regularly when I'm doing my own recycling. And so I believe Dave works 6 or 7 days a week, and that's been going on for a long time. Additionally, when I went to the Household Hazardous Solid Waste event I talked about earlier, there were a couple guys from the road department there helping out because we needed more help, and so clearly this is needed.
Yeah, I would agree.
Me too. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, move approval of a personnel requisition for a new regular full-time solid waste transfer station attendant in the solid waste department.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. One more, Chris. Item number 9, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of a notice of intent to award contract for the Old Wheeler Moeller Slide Repair Project. Chris?
So to add to that briefly, in a few short weeks, we'll have our road department admin staff helping to fill vacancies up in the Manzanita transfer station, as well as to assist with the household hazardous waste. And on a rare occasion, you'll actually see me up there operating the forklift on a Saturday. So moving to Old Wheeler Moeller, this is one of our storm events from 2015-2016. It's been actively in design. We ended up separating this project from other projects to allow this one to advance. It went out for advertising. We had 21 people on the plan holders list. We had six bids on this. The bids ranged in price from $152,000 over to $439,000. The engineer's estimate on this was $240,000. In order to help to secure the best bid price, we allowed the work to be completed on or before May of next year. That way we could take advantage of opportunities when there's a gap in the contractor's schedule. Unfortunately, it's all too frequent where a contract is under construction or is getting ready to go to construction and an unexpected delay causes that to happen. Subsequently, a contractor needs to fill his hole in his schedule. And allowing the contractor some flexibility to do this work helped us achieve a low price of $152,523. And the low bid is Bob McEwen Construction. They're out of Gearhart. And this notice of intent to award is simply that. It's a notice of intent to award to Bob McEwen Construction, Inc. 7-day period on which other contractors can protest the award, and the award will follow in 7 days. A request to sign the contract.
Perfect. Comments, questions?
Chris, I know that road has been closed for some time. For how long? For how long has it been closed? A couple of years at least?
2016.
Okay.
That road will become a fire lane. So it is near the intersection of Highway 53 and 101. It's essentially a cut across road. The fire department has requested to keep this road open. It'll be kept open as a fire lane. This is a road that infrequently will have campers occupy the road, tweakers, etc. So this will end up becoming gated and allow the fire department to get through there without having to go through the intersection of 53 and 101. Should for whatever reason that be closed, such as for an accident. It just allows the increase in fire response time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Chris, I guess we're gonna continue to talk about 2015-2016 storm damage for at least another year, although I think maybe
At least 2 more years.
at least 2 more years.
At least.
That's unbelievable. It is. But yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of an order in the matter of a notice of intent to award a contract for the Old Wheeler Moeller Slide Repair Project.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Tillamook Family Counseling Center for the development of a behavioral health housing plan for Tillamook County. And with us this morning, we've got Thomas Fiorelli, Housing Coordinator, Community Development. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you very much for having me this morning. So I'm here to talk about a memorandum of understanding with the Tillamook Family Counseling Center on a behavioral health housing plan. So this comes as a memorandum of understanding with a scope of work that identifies the number of hours and the range of time that I'll be spending guiding the TFCC and their steering committee through a plan to listen to people with behavioral health challenges, those with lived experiences, as well as wrapping that information up into some reports and some action plans that'll help us understand where we can spend money moving forward to bring those projects to fruition, and more importantly, where we can find dollars beyond what we've already received to do so. And so I'm here today to just talk about the fact that I'll be working with them in that process, and that will begin or has begun in February and will extend until June. I know you have the scope of work and the memorandum of understanding before you. I'm curious if there are any questions that I can answer for you today.
Questions, comments, Thomas?
So I don't have any questions, I just have comments, so I'll add some comments. So I'm super excited that TJ is doing this work with Tillamook Family Counseling. This funding opportunity came out to Tillamook Family Counseling probably 8 or 9 months ago, and Frank and I visited about the fact that we knew that behavioral health housing was needed in Tillamook County, and we knew that additional money would be coming forth to help fund that. And the best thing that we could do would be to take advantage of this grant for the planning process, so that we would be ready when the additional funding rolled out to know what exactly is needed in Tillamook County in relation to behavioral health housing, what types of housing, what number of units, to really kind of dig into that a little bit more deeply so we would be ready. So I'm super excited that TJ is leading this work in that partnership with Tillamook Family Counseling, and we are beginning to see those dollars come forward. So I really look forward to the work product, TJ, that you guys come out with at the end of this. And again, appreciate you stepping into the facilitation role to help this process come to a really successful conclusion.
Thank you, Commissioner Scarr.
Thank you. I think this is exciting. It's exciting that we're going to get funding to do this. It's exciting that we're asking the questions and doing the work. I was reminded of when I worked for Adventist Health. I volunteered weekly for a community dinner, and a lot of our guests were homeless people and houseless people living in various places, vehicles, etc. And one of the things that I liked the most about doing that work was that we would serve people, and then we'd sit down and eat with them and talk with them. And so in that process, I learned a lot about different reasons that people are without homes in our community. And I would say about a third of the people who attended that dinner had behavioral health issues. And it's just heartbreaking. And so I think this work is essential to figuring out what are the gaps, how are people falling through the cracks, and how can we build a safety net for them, and what kinds of services do we need to have in place in order to help them be successful. And so I'm very grateful for the work.
I too, TJ, appreciate what you're doing so much. We've had a housing problem in Tillamook County for so long, and it's just getting worse. It really is. But then we don't think about the little niche areas, such as the intersect of behavioral health and those issues causing homelessness in certain populations. Of course, we always try to look at the big picture and solve the big picture. But you really can't do that without making sure that we reach out and make sure that all areas are covered. This is extremely important for Tillamook County. TJ, you're doing just a great job as our new housing coordinator. Again, this is made possible through the county and through Tillamook Family Counseling, through ARPA funds, things of that nature. We're one of the few counties, small rural counties, that actually has a housing commission, and they're working diligently to try to solve the housing problems that we have in Tillamook County. This goes back to the previous discussions we've been having during this meeting, being able to hire people. When people respond to our requisitions and we make an offer to them, they would love to come to Tillamook County and take a job. But oftentimes what we find is that they come here, and when they cannot find housing, period, they decline our offers. That's really one of the issues that I see in Tillamook County, that really leads to the problems in hiring that we have. There are many, but this is one of the compounding factors, I think. So again, TJ, I appreciate very much everything you're doing with the Housing Commission, working through this under community development. So, did you have additional information you wanted to provide us? TJ, are you there?
Yes, I lost you for a moment. I could see you talking, but I couldn't hear anything. So I think we're good.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Tillamook Family Counseling Center for the development of a behavioral health housing plan for Tillamook County.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Moving on to item number 11, discussion and consideration of a travel request for Benji Antolan to attend the ESRI, and I'm sure we're going to find out what ESRI stands for, ESRI Software User Conference in San Diego, California, July 11, 2022 through July 16, 2022. And with us we have Jeff Underwood, Interim Director, Information Services. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Commissioners. The item that I have before you is a request for Benji to attend the ESRI Software User Conference in San Diego. This will give him a chance to attend trainings and demos of how others are using GIS, and this will be valuable as he looks to make improvements and expand our GIS offerings.
Great.
Terrific.
Comments?
No, terrific. I think we're really all very excited to have this GIS position filled and to look at how it can impact and assist all of the work that we do at the county. So I'm certainly in support of sending our new employee off to get the training they need to do a great job with us.
I agree. I have one question. I'm going to put you on the spot, Jeff. ESRI. What does ESRI stand for?
That is Environmental Systems Research Institute. It's the company that is pretty much the name in GIS software.
Perfect. This was the test for you as our interim director.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, so far you get to stay.
You passed. Okay, we're looking for a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a travel request for Benji Antolin to attend the Esri Software User Conference in San Diego, California, July 11th through July 16th, 2022.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item number 12, discussion and consideration of a Tillamook County 2021-2022 part-time temporary, lost my place, salary schedule effective April 20, 2022. And here we go with Sean Blanchard, our treasurer. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning again, Commissioners. After a review with Aaron Frost and myself, we noticed that our part-time pay table director's position, when we retire, a retired person, was not keeping up with where their salaries fell on the executive service pay table. So this is changing, adding a range, I think it's adding a range 21. That was last week when I did this, so please excuse me. To the pay table, but to reflect what a rehire department head or director was potentially making and bringing them back when needed or if needed.
Perfect. Yeah, and as everyone knows, if you listen to our budget hearings, we have some salary issues. We do. And we're moving forward to try to resolve those, but in the interim, we have to make it viable for rehires, especially directors and department heads to want to come back. We do. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
Oh, no, you're
Any
fine.
Questions, concerns?
I agree completely.
Yeah, I do as well. We've been very fortunate in this staffing shortage to have many rehires that are willing to come back and support the county. We have 2 interim directors right now, and I think we have being able to bring back someone who has retired who is a director to help us is also a crucial piece. And so, yeah, we need to make sure we have the salary scales that will do that.
Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a Tillamook County 2021 to 2022 part-time temporary salary schedule effective April 20th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item number 13, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the transfer of certain county property to Karen Hammock. And Joel Stevens, County Counsel. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So if it's okay with you, I'll discuss items 13 and 14 together. They're separate action items, but they're related.
Perfect. Thank you.
So what you have before you is an order, and then number 14 is the deed executing that order to transfer property back to Ms. Hammock. This is a property that was previously deeded to the county through foreclosure, and we have had discussions on this property before. It's in Rockaway. It's got a house on it. It was a property that, upon being deeded to the county and us going up to the property to take possession, became apparent that maybe the previous owner wasn't fully aware of what was going on. There was actually a contractor there doing some work on the property, which in my experience is pretty unusual if someone knows. But Ms. Hammock had been living out of the area with some family members, but and is elderly and has some health issues. But in the multiple conversations I've had with her, this property was kind of her, her financial means for retirement, and so she really didn't want to lose it. she had the funds to pay the back taxes and fees that would have been owed. So the statute referenced in the order allows the county to sell property back to a previous owner for a set amount that takes into account the previous taxes that were owed, fees, interest, things like that. So that was all calculated. That money has been provided to the county, and so I think in this circumstance, it's in the county's best interest to allow Ms. Hammock to take this property back.
Perfect. Comments, questions?
I'm fully supportive. I'm really glad that it worked out that way, and thank you for your work on that.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this before, that the last thing that the county really ever wants to do is take property from an owner, and particularly, a situation like this where she seemed to sort of lost touch with what was happening with the property, and the opportunity to return it to her is fabulous.
I concur. I do. Thank you for your work on this, Joel. So we'll take these up one at a time.
Correct, please.
Looking for a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of an order in the matter of the transfer of certain county property to Karen Hammock.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Continuing on, item number 14, discussion and consideration of a tax deed in favor of Karen Hammock for certain county property located in Township 2 North, Range 10 West, Section 32CC, tax lot 2301. Again, Joel.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is just the deed executing the order that you just approved. So this would deed the property back to Ms. Hammock.
Okay. Comments, questions? Perfect. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a tax deed in favor of Karen Hammock for certain county property located at Township 2 North, Range 10 West, Section 32CC, tax lot 2301.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Joel, I see you have the next one also. Number 15, discussion and consideration of a tax collector's deed for the 2019 foreclosure proceedings. Joel Stevens, again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the 2-year redemption period for the 2019 foreclosure litigation has expired. And so before you was a tax collector's deed signed by Ms. Vandecouvering, Tillamook County Tax Collector, deeding the properties listed to the county. And I would note that Exhibit A, which lists the properties, is a shorter list than some years we've had, which I would say is a good thing. We've definitely tried to work with property owners to allow them to redeem. As you might notice from the dates, it's a little longer than 2 years since the redemption period ended, but we try to be as flexible as possible in working with people. There are a couple properties that we pulled off this list that we're hoping we're not going to have to end up being deeded over to the county because they're in the process of either being sold or attempting to redeem. So, but the ones before you are the ones that at this point it appears we need to go ahead and move forward with taking deed. We're not really seeing any movement or action on. So I don't know if Ms. Vandecouvering is on this morning, and looks like she is. I don't know if she has any additional comments, but I believe she's signed this tax collector's deed, and so I'm just recommending approval.
Denise, did you want to make any comments?
No, thank you, Joel. Well explained, and thank you, commissioners. And you're exactly right. We try to work with property owners as much as possible, and most of the properties on this list that, on the deed that I just signed, are unbuildable wetlands properties that the taxes have not been paid, and it's time to foreclose. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Comments, questions?
No.
No, other than I appreciate very much the work that is done to work with owners before we take property.
And again, I just need to say that as a commissioner, this is probably the worst thing that the commissioners, well, no, there are some other maybe worse things, but this is one that is just, it's very difficult for us to do. But when taxes are not paid, there are certain statutes that we need to meet. So it's important that we stay ahead of this, and I know in the past we've gotten way behind, and that places a great deal of workload on the Commissioner's Department, especially Rachel Haggerty, our Chief of Staff, who oftentimes has to get involved in all these. So it's best if we keep pace with them moving forward. So I appreciate everyone's work on this to this point, and the work is not over, however. So I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a tax collector's deed for the 2019 foreclosure proceedings.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Joel.
Joel.
Okay, moving on to item number 16, discussion and consideration of a personnel requisition for a replacement full-time interim director in the library department. Commissioner Bell, you're going to handle this one.
I am. Well, as you know, our library director, Jerry Godber, has tendered her resignation effective June 3rd, I believe. And so there's anticipation, the recruitment is underway, but there's anticipation that there may be a gap between when Jerry leaves and when we get another director started. So we want to have the opportunity to hire a full-time interim director.
I'm in full support. We've been talking about all morning, and in the budget hearings and ad nauseum that we are, short on staff, and when we go out for recruitment, the concern is that we may not identify an appropriate candidate quickly. So having this interim prepared to support the library is a great idea.
I agree. I'm so sorry to hear that Jerry is leaving us, but there are other issues that force this on Jerry's part. And again, I'm sorry to see her leave, but yes, we do need to be prepared to make sure that the library continues to run unimpeded, and I'm in full agreement here. So we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personnel requisition for a replacement regular full-time interim director in the library department.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner Bell. Item number 17, we've already taken up earlier. We moved that ahead earlier in today's schedule. Item number 18, discussion and consideration of a travel request for Commissioner David Yamamoto, that's me, to attend the 2022 NACO Annual Conference, NACO, National Association of Counties, Annual Conference in Aurora, Colorado from June 20 through June 25th, 2022. And I see my name on this item. So yes, I am a member of NACO, the National Association of Counties. I'm a member of the EELU, Environment, Energy, and Land Use Steering Committee at NACO, also on the RAC, the Rural Action Caucus at NACO. And I've got a couple of big items I'm working on through NACO. One of them, extremely important to Tillamook County, the NOAA Fisheries FEMA buyout, the biological opinion. And again, I've been talking about this long before I became commissioner. This has the ability, and they're getting close to nearing the end here. If this biological opinion and the reasonable and prudent alternatives are put in place in Oregon, Tillamook County is going to suffer dramatically from this. We've got so many different partners on this issue. We've got the Tillamook County Creamery Association, we've got the Oregon Realtors Association, we've got the Oregon Home Builders Association, plus many others that understand the complexity and the issues that are going to be forthcoming should this biological opinion be put into force. So after 8 years of working on this, during the first 7 years making no progress at all, but now suddenly in the last year, we have gotten the attention of our federal legislators, and they see the issues here, and so it is my hope that we will continue to make some progress on this. And this particular conference, the annual conference of the National Association of Counties in Aurora, Colorado, we have a plan in place to make sure that NACO is fully engaged in this, since after they're done with Oregon, this is now going nationwide. And so we have many other counties now that are seeing the light that we saw 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and are very concerned. So it is my hope that we will continue to garner support nationwide on the biological opinion issue, as well as many others. This is an area that I'm getting great great feedback and input from NACO on our broadband issues and things of that nature. So having a voice at the national level is extremely important. And I'm pleased to do the work there, I really am. So I'll leave that to the other two commissioners for discussion.
No, I thank you for being willing to step into the national stage on behalf of Tillamook County. You know, I think we all participate at the Association of Oregon Counties at the state level, which is an important piece of work, and of course participating at the national level. Tillamook County is not an island. We are not insulated from the rest of the world. We are impacted by it, and it's important that we have our voice at that table, and I appreciate your willingness to do that.
Thank you.
Likewise, and I think to your point about the NOAA Fisheries biological opinion, there are things that are happening here that have a greater impact, that will be important to coastal counties all over the country, and so it's important for us to be at those tables and to be having those conversations. So thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a travel request for Commissioner David Yamamoto to attend the 2022 NACO Annual Conference in Aurora, Colorado from July 20 to July 25th, 2022.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 19, board concerns. Any other non-agenda items?
I just wanted to give everybody a heads up today, a reminder, if you are catching this today, that Tides of Change has their Human Ribbon event today at 1 p.m. at the 2nd Street Plaza. And just inviting everyone to come out. It's going to be a lovely day, but there will be a human ribbon formed, a drone photo taken for just to show all of our support for survivors of sexual abuse. So I just encourage people to come out and be a part of this. It's a great way to just show support. So 1 p.m. at the 2nd Street Plaza.
Okay. So I just want, I know I mentioned it earlier, but yesterday we had a Tillamook Working Lands and Waters Cooperative tour in Tillamook County for the House Energy and Natural Resource Committee. I think it was a resounding success. We take them up on an active timber harvest, show them how we do things and why we do things, why I'm able to say when it comes to clean water and habitat restoration and fish recovery, no Oregon county does this better than Tillamook County. We went to the brand new state-of-the-art Trask River Fish Hatchery. Just unbelievable work there. And this was actually designed and built by with a lot of Tillamook County input. Commissioner Scar's husband is Jim Scar, now retired, just recently retired. What he was telling me that he started, this was years ago, on a piece of paper just drawing out his plans for this new state-of-the-art facility. It is truly state-of-the-art. We do things here now in our hatchery that no other fish hatchery on the West Coast does. And I just feel that as we continue to move forward, ODFW is going to take what was done here in Tillamook County and apply that to all fish hatcheries across the state and hopefully up and down the West Coast. Again, Tillamook County leads in so many different ways. And then we ended our day at a local dairy, and it was just an amazing experience. And the legislators that were on our tour yesterday, it was an eye-opening experience when we tell them about waste management and things of that nature, and the expense and the trouble and the work that goes into waste management on dairies across the state, but especially in Tillamook County where we have so much water. And it opened a lot of eyes yesterday. It really did. It was just a terrific tour, and it is my hope that since they are on the Energy and Natural Resource Committee at the House in the state of Oregon, that they're going to see things maybe a little differently when issues get brought before them. And I think this is really important. Tillamook Working Lands and Waters Cooperative, again, it's just a grassroots organization made up of timber interests and dairy interests and fishing interests and local government interests and everybody that has a stake in our natural resource economy here in Tillamook County. So again, thought it was a great tour. We need to keep doing these tours, and I think it's gonna be great. So I just wanted to make mention of that. Okay, any other issues? Hearing none. Oh, we need to go into board announcements. So other meetings and announcements. The commissioners will hold a board briefing today, Wednesday, April 20, 2022 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the courthouse in the Nestucca Room, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. Teleconference number is 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The commissioners will hold a public hearing on Monday, April 25th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. to hear the appeal of the Planning Commission's decision to approve conditional use request number 851-2-1-000-416-PLNG, and I'm out of breath, to establish a 19-site recreational campground on approximately 18-acre portion of a 58.51-acre parcel in Tierra Del Mar. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 887-242-77#. Finally, the Compensation Board for Tillamook County will hold a meeting Tuesday, April 26, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149. Again, conference ID 976-694-511#. With that, having no other business before us, time being 10:27 a.m., we will adjourn this board meeting.